Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. To get a PDF version of this tutorial, join our community on Patreon at patreon.com/ArielCad3D. You'll get access to our starter pack files, blueprints, transcripts, early access to our content, as well as native CAD files. You also get master course lessons that are available at our flexible tiers. So click the link in the description box below and you can join as a free member or any tiers that suit your needs. So let's finalize on these leaf springs. By the way, one thing that I did note in our previous video is that we did not create this cross member. So if you can just right click on rear shackle, define in work object, create a circle profile like I've did here on this ZX plane. Just create a circle 15 millimeters because this seems kind of wider than the others. And then just choose up to last for both sides, up to last, and then that will be it. I trust you can do that because we did all the others. Now for the leaf springs, we're going to simplify our geometry because as you can see, we've got a couple of similar plates, meaning that the method of creating them is similar. So I'm not going to repeat the same process over and over again, just with different dimensions. Instead, what we're going to do is, for example, we're going to create this eye plate, right? And then for the top part, we're going to simplify it to a block because it's simply just creating a profile for the width and extruding it. So we're not going to repeat over and over. We're going to create a block at the top, this plate, and then a block at the bottom. And then we're going to have, of course, a nut and a bolt. Then the brackets, the securing brackets. I believe that is going to be very informative. So if you are designing the leaf spring plate for the purposes of analysis, you can use a simplified model, yes, but if you want accurate results, then you can go ahead and create them independently. And then when you import them into an analysis software such as ANSYS, you'll be able to get more accurate results. All right, let's go into it. So this profile, as you can see from CATIA, if we go into the side view, let me just reframe on this. So you can kind of see the profile here. Obviously, the eye is going to align with this hole we got here because that's where the bushing is gonna go in. But remember, the bushing it can have an outer diameter which is larger than the hole because it's going in between this shackle. All right, so the width of our leaf springs is going to be equal to this one. And I did say that we narrowed it down. In reality, it should be a bit wider. They shouldn't be this narrow, but we're just going to proceed with it. All right, so that means we create another body. So we're going to insert a body. Oh, that's because I was here. That's why the body came here. And because I like to organize my work a lot, just going to select this and then insert a new body. Then in the new body, you can rename it. So I'm just going to, I can name this the eye. We can call this the eye leaf, right? Then define in work object. And simply just sketch. So we've got a couple of options when it comes to access systems. And I think because of the width of it, it's better to use the front for the front section and this two for the rear section so that we can just go from plane to plane when we are extruding the profiles. So I will select this ZY plane and then just sketch. No, that's not it. It should be the ZX plane. I apologize. It should be the ZX plane. Oh, where are you? Let me go to the side view. ZX plane, doesn't matter which one is picked, and sketch. Then as I said, I will go to the side view. I prefer this orientation. Gives me some kind of perspective and typically flat. So I'm going to project. And because if you want a workflow where you can easily change one part and then it's going to reflect to the subsequent parts, it's better to project sketches rather than the bodies. It's better if you project the sketches. Yes, even projecting profile of the bodies is okay, but sometimes it can be inconsistent. So I would rather just select the sketch. So here I can show the sketch, then select the circle and project it as 3D element. So that'll be the hole for the eye. I'll do the same for the other side. So this rear shackle 2, I'll show the sketch. I'll select the circle and project it. Okay. Then now we can create concentric circle, concentric circle. And define the width between the two circles. This will be the width of each plate. And I don't want to make it very thick. So I think I'll have to go with either 1 or 2 millimeters in this case. We can try 2 millimeters at first. Do it on the other side as well. Make sure it's concentric. It's indicated by this dot, and when you hover over it, you can see concentricity. If you don't, you can select the 2 circles and add the constraint yourself. Right here, it will be selected, it will be highlighted, right? So the thickness between the two, again, I said it's 2 millimeters. I still feel like we're going to reduce it a bit. Then we're going to join with a single line that is tangent to both the outer circles. So I'll select line, zoom in on the first profile. In some cases, you can just know where the tangency will be because it'll be right at the center, right? So I can look for the center. And as you can see, automatically you've got the tangency. Let me see the other side. If it's not automatic, you can just click both the profiles and add tangency. Now the good thing here is the inner profiles are going to hold our geometry, so we don't need to fix anything. Then of course we've got another parallel line, again starting from here to this side. I've got to make sure that both of them are parallel and then they've got the same width. Hold on. Select both of them. Select both of them. Okay, they've got that, and then the width. Where is it? I think we added it. Gonna need to zoom in to see. This is tedious. So what I want is to insert. We've got the parallel. Okay. So constraint this to this. Oh, right. Now we've got it. Now we've got it. And it's supposed to be 2, right? Oh, I know why. I know why it seems to be over constrained. I think we've got this line aligned with this circle. I think we've got the line aligned to the circle. Let me just undo and check. On the constraints that are created. So this tangency is between the line and the imported geometry. Right, that's why. So it's already constrained to this and it's parallel to this. So definitely it's 2 millimeters. That's okay. That's fine. And then as you can see from the picture, it breaks off and then we've got another 2. Now remember, this geometry, these 2, we are going to fit in here. As you can see, let me zoom in. These 2 plates are going to fit in here. And if we are saying that this is 2 millimeters and 2 millimeters, that's 4. 4. So at a distance of 4, we should insert a line and then 2 millimeters a line. So if we don't see this geometry being viable, then we can reduce to each 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I'm going to select profile. And then of course, starting from this line, it shouldn't be vertical. Let the 2 lines be parallel, it's okay. Then we're going to make this, hold on, this and this one. Both to be parallel lines, and then actually this should extend. We can delete this coincidence because this line should extend to the inner circle. That's the case with the bottom one as well. The top one, how will I get this? I can try to see which one is it. And delete it. And instead extend it all the way. Make sure these 2 have tangency. This is perpendicular, or at least one of the lines. Then we're going to have the measurements. Between these 2, we've got 2 millimeters. This point and this line should be coincident. This line and this line should have 4 millimeter a difference. Then once you've got that, you can add the corners here. We're going to add a corner here and another one here. This one should be tangent only, and then we're going to trim off the excess geometry. We've got the corner to right here. Let me try by trimming off the element. If it doesn't work, sometimes when you're working with circles and multiple lines, the trim both elements sometimes doesn't work very well. But let's see. I need about 12 millimeters. Or 15. Let's see 15. Then we've got this line and this projected curve. Oh, double click on this. Let me try 12. I think that's okay. And this is already trimmed off. In order to see my geometry better, I'm going to hide this sketch. That's fine. We need tangency right here and here. Then we've got the distances here. We've got 4. The difference between the column or the thickness is 2 millimeters. We've indicated it here. Then we got 15, 12. So we are going to repeat this on the other side. I'm not going to explain it again. So just to repeat the same process we did on that side to the other side as well. I'm just going to go quickly over this. Okay, so I've done the same thing we did there on the other side. Now the only thing I think we haven't defined is the distance between this line and the center of the eye. So to standardize both ends, we're going to define this distance here. We're going to give a 25 millimeters. Let's do the same on the other side. Center. Not 5, but 25. Then we're done. We can exit. We're going to add, what do we call them? The edge fillet later on. So we can leave this sharp as it is. And you should have a profile as such. And then just add a pad. We've got open profiles, then we should definitely check. We've got open profiles, let's see. Especially when you see this joining places, you should be keen to see if one of the areas is protruding. I think we've got a gap here between these two. So I can zoom in. Here, right, we've got a gap. So I'll select that point and that line. Not yet. I need point to point. What happened? Double click on this. Let me try that again. Point to point. Point. And this point. Make them coincident. So these are common errors people get when they are, especially I've seen these comments when people are following my content, my tutorials, and they say, oh, the extrusion didn't work, this didn't work. If you get an error, you've got to go back to your sketch and see if you made any errors, especially when you see point like this. Then try again. If you still get the same error, you cross check. It's still saying it's an open profile. Again, double click, zoom in. Let's see if we've got any non-connecting parts or ones that are crossing each other, you know. I'm concerned about this part. And that part seems fine. Reframe on this one. See where they are connecting. I really don't see any issue. Not really sure what's the problem. Okay, I can keep looking and then inform you if I find a problem. I think I found it. So at this section right here, if you zoom in, you can see the one of the profile is extruding. That means when we used, what do we call it? Let me just double click on the sketch. Quick trim. When we used quick trim, it didn't trim off the entire line. So these are the small things that can annoy you and make you wonder if you're making a mistake and all that. Did it trim off my entire line? Why would it do such a thing? Okay, undo. Let me exit that first. Undo. I think I know why. We should have this point and this point. Where is the other point? Or I can just move it back. Move it back. Select this. Select this point and that point. I'm hoping I've selected them. Select coincidence. And then I still have to add the tangency. That doesn't seem like we've got tangency, do we? All right, let's see if this is going to work. We didn't get any errors, so I'm guessing that worked. Our dimension is up to plane because we're in a new body and we're selecting the ZX plane. Oh, we sketched on that. I'm going to select this other ZX plane, preview. All right, finally, we've got one plate. That's one leaf plate. And now we can add 2 blocks. Hopefully these other ones won't give us any problems. I need to be able to see this. What color is more prominent? Is it blue or green? You can have green. Yeah, that shows us where it is. Perfect. Now, obviously, if you put the other geometry into the same body, they are just going to merge together. That's the thing about the Power Design Workbench, that if I add another profile onto this body, they're just going to automatically fuse together. And because you want them to be independent, you've got to create a new body for every feature. So then we go to insert new body. We can call this, let's say, you can name it however you want, as long as you know the geometry that you're naming. It can be top leaf plate, or you can name them with numbers 1, 2, 3, but because it got 2, I'll just say top leaf plate and bottom leaf plate. Okay, let's go. We select the ZX plate once again. I don't know what's the problem with my tongue today. Go to side view. This should be very simple, as we're just going to show the first sketch. Trying to show it, not hide it. Where is it? I need to plug in. 1 second. Okay. Perfect. So in this case, we are going to project this as a standard element. Then simply select profile. And we've got 2 plates fitting here and 1 plate that is at the center. So it will start, say, at this point. Can we see? Yeah, undo that. We've got to start from here. 1 plate. Then a perpendicular line. Hold on, before we do that, I'm going to project this one as well, because I need guidance on that. Let's proceed. The other one goes all the way to the top at 90 degrees. Then we go all the way to the other side. Perhaps up to here. Like so. And now the only thing you've got to do, going to delete that vertical and horizontal constraints. Well, because this line should be at 90 degrees. Perpendicular. Same thing with this two. Perpendicular. Then we've got the thickness. This one right here is 2. What happened? What happened? Why is it running away? And definitely we don't need to define this one, because once we define the top, we align the top with the projected line, is automatically 2. Let me see the other side. The projected line, this line is going to be a construction element, so we don't get an open profile once again. And then delete this horizontal line and make this 2, or just this line and this line to be perpendicular. Then you've got this horizontal line, and it should be parallel to the bottom one. Then the distance between that is the thickness, is 2 millimeters. That's fine. Same thing on the other side. We need this line to be parallel to this line. Cool. So those are 2 plates. The one that will be tied with a bolt right here. But then at the center, I'm going to create an axis here that shows me maybe it's just an estimate, so it doesn't really matter. I just needed to at least indicate where I can add an extra plate from here. This is a standard element. I need a 90 degree, but I'm not getting it. Say up to here. Delete that, make them 90 degrees. So perpendicular. Same thing on the other side. Perpendicular. This line and this line should be parallel as well as the other ones. That over constraint. Okay, I guess the perpendicular, 2 perpendicular constraint define this as parallel to this bottom one, so we can just trim this. Then we've got the distance, of course. The thickness. Oh no, that's not good. We've got this vertical. Remove it. Instead of vertical, it's parallel, yeah. At a distance of, or a thickness of 2. 2 millimeters. Then we've got a trim of what we projected here. So you see we are creating it as a block. So the stairs illustrate where each new plate begins. That's all right. We can hide this sketch now. You see what we've got? We've got 3 stairs. Back to the sketch. A middle plate right there. That doesn't seem right. Something is off. Yeah, this one should be trimmed off as well. Suppose that's right now. Exit. We should have a closed profile with 3 plates illustrated by these 3 staircases. 1, 2, 3. Let's try and make a pad. Gonna zoom in. Once again up to plane and select OK. So that's our top block. We can give that a different color so we can see where one stops and where one starts. So once we start giving them fillets, they are going to make much more sense. And then the bottom one now. So right here you can add as many as possible. You can add as many as you see fit. So I just added 3. You can definitely add more. You can also pull this closer. You can add 2. It doesn't really matter. The process is what I'm trying to teach. Let's just sketch the bottom profile. You can start on this edge. Once again, we need this edge, and I prefer if we use the sketch. Select the bottom line, project it. It's okay for it to be a standard element, then we'll trim later on. Then hide the sketch. The bottom profile is a bit much better. We can see it much better than the others. To keep our work simple, I'm going to leave the vertical lines, or the horizontal lines in this case, horizontal. And we're only going to add, hold on. I'm only going to select these profiles. They are the vertical ones, but in our orientation, they are the horizontal ones. This one, this one, this one. The bottom one, this, this, and this one. Then select the one we've projected. Then we make all of them to be parallel to each other. The seam over constraint. There might be one which is vertical. There might be ones which are vertical, so we can delete those. You see the other side. This two as well. And it should be fine. Need these tears to be a bit prominent, because remember we're going to add some fillets, so I need some space for the fillets. Perhaps it's better for this to be horizontal as well, so it matches with the other ones. And again on this side I'm going to add some space for the fillets. Now let's just space them out like so. Then we can have the thicknesses. I feel like 2 is going to be very, very thin in this case. We might have to change factor. Let's make them 4. I feel like we went too narrow. Let us give it 4. The other side as well. Okay, I might just add 1 or 2 more layers, because we need to see that thickness. So I'm going to select this and drop in no, that's not it. Sorry, let me zoom in. Like so, and just repeat the same thing. Remove the vertical constraints, select the horizontal lines, or the vertical lines in this case, align them with any other. Then add the thickness. By the way, there's no rule that every single plate here should have the same thickness. So if you feel like yours should be different, you can definitely go for that. Then we're going to trim off this line. Make sure it's trimmed off all the way to the other side. And finally, the first projected line. Trim off the extremities. Cool. So I definitely feel like the top profile and the eye profile that we gave 2mm in thickness might have been too narrow for this case. But let's see how this one goes. Up to plane. ZX plane. Select OK. So I did leave these two bodies in the same body. They're acting as just one block, even though there's a gap in between them. But that's fine, because now since they are not connected, when you export this geometry, they are going to be two different solids, okay? So that's going to be okay. But if they were connecting together, like if we made the eye, this and this, they would be merged into one body when you're exporting them. But in this case where there's a gap in between, you might be able to separate them into two solids, okay? I hope that makes sense. So yeah, that's the bottom. So if you want, you can come in here and change these values, change the thickness of the eye to be 4mm, but I'm going to leave it as it is. So what I need you to do, this color is very invisible. So what I need you to do is repeat the same thing we've done here to the other side. And then I can show you how we are going to add the brackets and add the fillets in the next episode.